Welcome to the WPAOG podcast. Today, we're honored to have Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Toven and Sergeant Major Carla Loy Song, two distinguished leaders of the West Point Band. LTC Toven, an accomplished conductor and Army leader with degrees in music and military art, commands the nation's oldest Army band, known as the soundtrack to the cadet experience. SGM Loy Song, who began as a trumpet player and now serves as a vocalist and leader, brings unique energy and dedication to the band. Together, they'll take us inside the band's rich history, share memorable performances, and reveal how music shapes life at West Point and beyond. Stay tuned for an inspiring look into the heart of the Academy's musical legacy. Please enjoy this episode with our host, Jamie Enos.
Colonel Toven and Sergeant Major Loy Song, thanks so much for being here today. Today we have the band on our podcast. So excited to have you both here, and it's going to be a great show. Thanks for coming on.
Jamie, thanks for having us. We're really excited to do this.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, let's get started. So the band is everywhere at West Point and everywhere around West Point. It's so much more. It's got such a rich history. Let's just start there. Can you just tell us about some of the most significant milestones and moments in the band's history? Colonel Toven, can you just take us down that road?
Well, we're the oldest band in the Army. We were formally founded in 1817, so we've been around for over 200 years, but we trace our history back to Revolutionary days. Ever since West Point became an Army installation, there have been musicians stationed here.
How does the band contribute to the military and the cadet experience here at the Academy? How does that, in the day-to-day operations, what does that look like?
It's an interesting question you ask because you stated it at the very beginning. The band is everywhere. We are a support mechanism in almost every activity that happens here at the Academy, which is pretty fun from my seat when I'm in the planning meetings about events coming up, how much of a subject matter expert we become because we're everywhere. We're at all the major milestones in a cadet's 47-month experience, from our day all the way to graduation, to include Ring Weekend, the cadet weekends, yearling winter weekend, plead parent weekend, 500th night. We're a support mechanism in the 100th night show, and we're on the parade field with the cadets. We are at all those special functions, not to mention we're playing reveille every morning at the flagpole. And we're at their breakfast formations, lunch formations, and then we're putting the flag down in the evenings every day. So to say the band is everywhere is not even exaggerating.
Yeah. I don't know how you do. I mean, I know there are a lot of you here and stationed here at West Point, but I don't know how you cover all the ground. We just got on a call to record this podcast, and I could hear it in the background for lunch was going on. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, should we delay what happens? And I was like, no, let's roll. Let's get it in the background so we can capture that. It was like the perfect intro. I don't know if it'll get picked up on the audio, but it was just the perfect lead in to kind of get recording. So
that's awesome.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Jamie, to add to what Carla was saying, we like to use the phrase that we are the soundtrack to the cadets' 47-month experience.
That's perfect. That's a great saying. I like that. You could trademark that for sure. The people here, though, the band members, let's talk about that for a little bit, right? The training and the people that are here. What is the training process like for the musicians who join the West Point Band? Because it is a highly qualified position. Colonel Toven, who do you look for as the conductor and the leader here as the commander?
Right. Well, we're looking for the country's very best musicians. Most of our people here have advanced degrees in music performance. I've lost track, but I would say probably 10% now have doctorate degrees in music performance. So we're going out to those places where professional musicians gather or go for information, and when we have an opening, we advertise there and try to search across the country for the best people. And then we hold competitive auditions here to fill those slots. But it's a very highly educated, incredibly talented group of people.
And Sergeant Major Loy Song, your experience here kind of took a different track, right? Because you came in as a trumpet player. Can you describe how your role changed?
Well, as Colonel Toven was saying, not a lot of people know that we are a pool of professional musicians, and we chose music as a profession before we chose the Army, I like to say. So I was just finishing my master's degree in trumpet performance when I took the audition here at the West Point Band and won the spot. A spot has to open here before anyone is offered the opportunity to come and audition to fill the spot. And then when we win the audition, especially the civilians that may audition, then we choose to join the Army. So it's definitely a different path than especially other NCOs in the Army. But the choice to serve is still there, right? We win the audition and then we go off to complete basic training. We are offered the job because of skills that we've already acquired in our civilian education system. And so that when we come here, then we're put right to work providing the musical support that the Academy deserves.
And you started off, when you came here and you won the audition as a trumpet player. And then what happened? How did your career path change a little bit?
Word got out that I also liked to sing and that I had some singing experience. And so it wasn't too long that I was incorporated in a couple singing opportunities as a junior member of the unit, singing in a trio of other ladies. And then it was about 2009 or into 2010 when we started the formation of the Benny Havens Band, which is now our current cover band, our popular music group that plays a bunch of covers and provides musical support to things like the Cadet Hops and other community events, Black Knights Alley at football games and things like that. So I was one of the founding members of the Benny Havens Band when we were creating this new product, this new, more relevant type of music that the West Point Band didn't provide prior to that. So they called upon that experience, the singing experience that I had, to help with that group. And then I ended up singing full-time in the Benny Havens Band, putting the trumpet down for a little while and becoming a vocalist for the band.
Yeah. And so you talk about that call to serve moment. What was that inspiration for you to even start looking for that position, that opening here at West Point?
Personally, I did my master's degree at the University of Maryland, which is outside of Washington, D.C., where a number of the special bands in the military call home, right? Many of them are based out of the D.C. area. So I was taking a number of auditions in many different bands in the military. It just so happens I won the one up here. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know where West Point was at the time.
Oh, no.
I know, because as a starving musician, we're kind of taking all the auditions that come and trying to just make a living, right? So, but it was nothing but fate for me to end up here as I ended up meeting my husband in the band. And we've been able to then start a family here and have a great long career here at West Point. It's a great community to be a part of. And it was one of the best decisions I made.
Wow. So you really are that West Point family.
Yeah.
That's great. Colonel Toven, how do you take those roles that are open there? Because your career path here to West Point is a little bit different, right? So how did you end up here as the commander?
I think it's important to point out to people, they probably figured this out already by listening to Carla, but the NCOs here are stabilized. They, along with the 3 other special bands in the Army's inventory, those positions are permanent duty assignments. The other thing that's interesting is that after they come back from basic training, within 2 months, we promote them to E6, to staff sergeant. That's the Army's way of rewarding all of the hard work, all of the education that they have undergone to be able to be qualified for these positions. And as such, they're pretty highly sought after positions. In the music world, the word gets out that these are good jobs to have. And I think most of us find that it's so rewarding because it combines our passion for music as well as the opportunity to serve our country. The officers, we rotate throughout the entire band program. So I've been doing this for 21 years, and I've served everywhere from Washington, D.C. to what was Fort Bragg is now Fort Liberty and Heidelberg, Germany. I like to say, though, that of all of those great assignments that I've had over the last few years, I've realized that this is absolutely the best one because of what this organization is, the people that constitute it, and the mission that we have as being that soundtrack to the 47-month cadet experience.
So as the conductor here and as the commander, how do you foster teamwork within the band, especially considering there is such a variety of instruments, backgrounds that are coming, personalities? performance styles. You have so many, you have genres that you're performing on top of locations and everything else that's going on. What are those strategies that you use to foster that teamwork within the band?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jamie. And it's something that the command team and the senior leaders here work really hard to create that type of environment where people feel that they can contribute to the greatest extent that they choose to contribute. We're so lucky because, as we mentioned, that level of education, that level of talent, I'm probably the least talented, least smart person in the room when we gather together. So I find that I believe that it's my job to allow people to sort of unleash that talent, unleash that creativity. So it's very much a kind of a step back and guide the ship process rather than controlling it. And we find that it really works. I mean, when we put together programs, no matter what group we're talking about, we put together committees of people so it's a team effort, bringing that creativity to the room so that we come up with what I think are the best products rather than me or Command Sergeant Major and myself sitting in an office trying to be creative ourselves.
Yeah, real group kind of dynamic there.
Absolutely.
Sergeant Major, how do you get you've got the Benny Havens, like you said, and I think you're right. Like that's the one that resonates because we see them out all the time. But there are other groups that we have, the concert, the Hellcats, right? Who else am I missing? And the marching band, brass quintet. Who else? Get them all?
We have so many different configurations of musicians that can provide so many different products in the band. That's one of the funnest things from my job is that I can sit here and think about the different options we have to best fit the mission at hand, right? The request that might come in. Yes, we've got small groups. We've got small chamber groups like a brass quintet, woodwind quintet. We've got a clarinet quartet, a tuba quartet. We've got lots of little tiny configurations of people that can get together and provide music. But jazz combos, we've got vocalists plus a number of different configurations. So yes, our three primary performing groups are the Benny Havens Band, as mentioned. And then actually our concert band is also the same personnel that makes up our marching band. So they wear at least two hats. Well, most of us wear a number of hats, but they kind of pull double duty in that way. And then, as you mentioned, the Hellcats, which the cadets learn to love, but maybe hate while they're here as cadets, the Hellcats that they hear every single day outside in their area.
Okay. And for listeners that may not know that, because our reach is a little bit broader, could you explain why the cadets may not love the Hellcats so much?
Sure. Well, Hellcats are waking the Corps up every morning with reveille, and they're playing in support of their daily formations that take place in front of the mess hall before they go into meals every day. And so I think perhaps their least favorite parts of the day, they're hearing the Hellcats in the background. It's part of that soundtrack. But then the alumni that return, they always want to hear the Hellcats. They have so much love for them because it really gives them that sense of the emotion that music brings to everyone. The alumni of the Hellcats bring back that emotion of remembrance, of nostalgia, that they're back home. They're back where they had all those wonderful experiences as cadets when they were here.
That's right. That moment of walking through that Sally port, right? And getting that.
Now you understand. Yeah.
Getting on that. I remember just recently we had a grad that had written a piece that you all had performed, and it was like a compilation piece. And he said that was one of the highlights of his experience for him was to come back and listen to you all play that march during one of the reviews. And so I have to give you a shout out from him on that, and what a spectacular job you all did on that, of course. So helping with that as well, still keeping memories even for graduates as well. Anyway, so what are some of the most memorable performances you've been a part of? Because I mean, you've been everywhere. I mean, I can't even Yankee Stadium and dignitaries, and I don't even know where to start with the name dropping that you can probably do as an organization. But if you'd like to, I mean, go ahead and impress us. What are some of your like, hey kids, look what mom and dad did or whatever.
Right. Do you have a memorable moment, sir? You've been here a few less years than me. I have a few that I'd love to mention, but do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, for me, hands down, it was the performance by the entire unit in the UN General Assembly Hall. Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield invited us to come and do a concert for the UN General Assembly. And to see the energy and excitement that music that we provided brought. We did some classic literature, very Americana, but we ended with some Motown tunes, incorporating the Betty Havens band, and literally saw ambassadors up out of their seats dancing in the aisles.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
It was really cool.
And what a great, again, UN, right? Bringing everybody together through music. What a great moment for you all. I could just imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jamie, you mentioned a couple of my highlights. I have definitely been in a Yankees playoff game, doing the anthem for a Yankees game. I had the honor of doing a solo vocal anthem at a New England Patriots game when none of our other vocalists were available. Just so happened to be they weren't available that day. It was a great honor. And performing for president always stands out as well. Mm-hmm. Being able to just be right in front of a president is pretty exciting. So I've been there. But I think my most memorable moment was a while back when the West Point Band collaborated with the New York Philharmonic in Avery Fisher Hall.
Wow.
And the New York Phil, when you talk in the classical music world, they're kind of at the top. Everybody knows them. Everybody wants to be them. And for the West Point Band to sit amongst the New York Philharmonic in concert was a really special experience. And we performed at the end of the concert, Stars and Stripes Forever. And Stars and Stripes Forever for a military band can become very blasé. It's just we perform this at the end of every concert. And here we are in Avery Fisher, and we come to the end of the concert and we start playing this piece. And I'd mentioned emotion before, but the emotion amongst the ensemble across the stage with all of these amazing professional musicians, the emotion that they all of a sudden gave to this piece of music was overwhelming. It was incredible to experience, to be there on stage with them, because they brought so much life to this song that was very monotonous for us. That was very, here we go again. And here we're playing that piece and they have so much fun when they play that piece that it was just magical. And I was like, I'm really here. I'm really playing with these musicians and I'm really part of this moment. It was pretty special.
Oh, that's really a great story. That's pretty cool. We do have our own music location here, Egner Hall, your home here. It was originally built in 1932. Music rooms, it used to have barracks and mess hall to support the West Point Band. Named in honor of Philip Egner, a music teacher here from 1909 to 1934. And still home to the West Point Band and the Cadet Glee Club. It is undergoing renovations that AOG is supporting, and we're about to do a ribbon cutting here shortly. Do you guys want to talk about the excitement of opening that up and getting back in your home?
Yeah, the two main projects in the building were the renovation of the Glee Club room and the renovation of the band's main rehearsal room. The Glee Club room is one of only a few places in the country that have this technology that takes a very dead space. It was very difficult for the Glee Club to rehearse in there because they couldn't hear each other across the room, that the room just sucked up the sound. They installed this multi-million-dollar system that's a combination of microphones and a whole bunch of speakers and a big computer server that picks up the sound and then rebroadcasts it out through the speakers in a way that it feels like you're in a concert hall or in a cathedral. So that the Glee Club now can rehearse in an environment that's realistic, where they would be performing. And they're absolutely in love with it. And that thanks to Marcia Randall, the wife of a former Grinnell grad, was responsible for that. And it's just amazing. And then they took our main rehearsal room, which is at the top of the building, and completely redid that, retreated it acoustically, and then took windows, these West Point arch, beautiful windows that look out over the Hudson that had been bricked up at some point in history, probably somebody thinking that glass was not a good substance to have in a rehearsal room. They unbricked 5 of the 7 windows. And now, thanks to Peter Krause, who did that in honor of his mother, we have the most beautiful rehearsal space of any band in the Department of Defense.
Yes, we do.
And the building is kind of getting back to the originality on top of that, right? So we're getting that architecture as well here at West Point. A little
Exactly.
bonus because of the renovation, I think. That's my personal additive here, but incredible. And the HVAC kind of needed some help too. So that is going to help with the equipment, and also amazing the technology of the HVAC and how that influences the acoustics and the dynamics. And it's just this whole like science of it all. But it's a beautiful space for sure, and the science that's behind it as well. So we're glad that your home there is going to be top notch, because you all deserve it for all the work that you do for the cadets here and the community.
Thanks, Jamie. We should add too that another part of the renovation was our main lobby. Peter Carpenter donated money for that. And back in June, right after we got back in the building, we had the band alumni weekend. So members of the West Point band from years past came and participated in a concert. And to a person, when they walked in the building and saw this bright, modern looking, beautiful space, their eyes just popped out of their heads. They were beyond themselves. That the building that they remember that was kind of dingy when you walked in is now very welcoming, a place that we can be proud of.
And part of this, as members of the band, is the Music Research Center, too. So you have soldiers there that are also conducting research as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This was started about 8 years ago when the Army was looking at its band structure and trying to figure out what it should look like and how much of that structure we should have, et cetera. And we felt that we needed to articulate in a more concrete way what bands do for the Army. And so across the Army career field, some of us started to get together and who had done some research on our own in different pods and start putting that together. And out of that was born the idea, hey, we've got all kinds of research centers here at the Academy. Why don't we make one that looks at the effect of music and sound on the human person? And so that's the charter of the research center, which opens us up to the medical things, the performance enhancement, as well as just what does music do to people and how does it motivate and inspire them, and how can that be beneficial to the Army?
Excellent. And then I also want to point out that as much as we just already discussed how the band is everywhere, right? I also know that the band is also interacting with cadets outside of just traditional band roles, right? Sergeant Major, do you want to talk about that? The experience of some of band members in the classroom and what they're doing as well?
I'll first speak on maybe outside the classroom, being a part of the West Point community here. We're also just offered the opportunities, I think of it as an opportunity for me, but it's also giving the cadets opportunities to just being part of their club or being officer representatives for any of the sports. We've got people that are playing those roles along with the clubs that are music related, the Cadet Strings, the Cadet Jazz Forum, and also the Cadet Spirit Band. And am I forgetting one, sir? I feel like I'm forgetting one.
No, but I do want to, I'm going to interrupt you and excuse me for doing that, but it isn't just music, right? And I think you started off of that, but I do want to stress that it's not just the music clubs and it's not just these music engagements. It's more than that. It's these NCOs that are interacting with cadets in more than just those music environments.
Sir, do you want to speak on the academic involvement? I think you might have a better handle on that one than I do.
Sure, absolutely. We have a couple of courses that we teach. It's kind of run through the Music Research Center on music and conflict and how that has been used throughout history. But we also have soldiers that cooperate with the Center for Performance Enhancement and teach courses alongside of the faculty there. We have also collaborated with other departments. We've got some experts in Lean Six Sigma, and one of our soldiers, Sergeant Major Jeremy Schlegel, actually trains people around the academy. He's a Lean Six Sigma black belt and offers that training across the academy.
Right, through the Department of Systems Engineering. So it's not, you have a music band member over here by day and night and early morning, and then during day and night and early morning over there at the academy on the other side, or over in Mahan Hall doing systems engineering with Lean Six Sigma, right? So
Yeah.
everywhere. If I haven't said it again.
Every once in a while, too, there'll be a department that reaches out to us with some sort of special request, a unique request for some sort of involvement in their own class. We've collaborated with the English department and done some musical theater classes. We've done, and Sergeant Major Brohlman, the class that he does with the English department is music and I'm not sure, I forget the name of his class, but the most recent request has been through the history department, asking us to do a class in music in Germany during the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall. So we appreciate when professors across the academy recognize that music is cross-curricular, right? It's important in whatever subjects they're teaching. And we're honored when we're reached out to as music experts to also contribute in those lessons that they want to point out, that they want to include the music aspect of. So it's been really great to be a part of that cross-curricular approach.
Right. So it's more than just, again, and in the community as well, it's more than just the music. It's you're here at West Point, you're volunteer coaches in the community at the kids level, it's your children, it's not just with cadets, you're contributors. And who doesn't love the band, right? We can't just not acknowledge that. One of the questions I have myself is, how do you select the music that you're going to play? How do you determine that? Whether it's for a parade or for a concert, a series, what's that process? How do you go through that, Colonel Toven? What's that selection process?
Sure. We always think of the audience first. Yeah, sometimes music organizations can be about what music do we want to play because we like to play it or it's challenging. We don't have that luxury because of what our mission is. So we first start by analyzing the audience. For whom are we playing and what's going to resonate with that group? And then the other thing that we've done, I stole this from some work that I did with Disney Live Entertainment in a previous assignment. And everything that they do, every product, every production that they do is guided by 5 guiding principles. Uniquely Disney, the best, safe are some of them. So what we did when I got here is we sat down, did an on-site with senior leaders and came up with the West Point band guiding principles, which are things like uniquely West Point. It has to be inspiring, in support of the mission. It has to be efficient. And so we've got posters with that all around, and it's on our website and everything, in our internal SharePoint site. So when we put together small groups of people to plan programs, we're analyzing the audience and we're making sure that what we select fits those guiding principles. And those two things are the boundaries for that process. And we find that it works really well.
Excellent. Sergeant Major, as the operations person, my favorite thing is the summer concerts, right? As long as it's great weather, we have a great summer here at West Point.
Those are one of our favorite events too. Yep.
When we can't have summer, that's the kickoff of summer and the end of summer. That's how we celebrate it here, right? What do we have to look forward to? Anything exciting coming up this fall as we go into the winter?
We do a winter concert series as well. It's just not outside because it's a little chilly. But
right.
we do some concerts at the Eisenhower Hall Theater, as well as we take the opportunity to get out into the local communities and do performances outside of West Point as well, reaching the local audience as best we can here at West Point and surrounding West Point.
And where can everybody find information for that?
That information is always on our events page at westpointband.com. And keep coming back to that site as we are able to add more events. We do. For instance, next summer, we haven't published yet, but we are looking forward to celebrating the Army's 250th birthday. So once our Summer 25 series is finalized, we'll be putting all those on the events page as well.
All right. And then I guess we'll have a nice, interesting tradition with modern balance selection going along with that. That'll be a hard choice, I guess. How do you go through the playbook for all of those songs that you'll have to select? I guess that's
you nailed it. You understand our daily strife here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where the suggestion box is, but
Well, actually, to that point, it's rather quite timely. I just got in my email today the mock-up of an original tune that we had written for the Army's 250th birthday and for that concert by Bill Sherman, who is a frequent collaborator with Lin-Manuel Miranda. He does all of his orchestration and that sort of thing, and he's a very well-known songwriter in his own regard. And he just sent the final product to us today, and it's amazing. So I cannot wait to debut that next summer.
Okay, so this is the tease. Everybody has heard it first here on the WPAOG podcast. That is a great close. I appreciate that, Colonel Toven. And I appreciate both of you being here today. This is an excellent podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And everybody can always find the band on the band website, on the band Facebook page, Garrison, the West Point Garrison website also, and Facebook page also always has your events. And we look forward to always hearing more from you and seeing you out on the parade field or early in the morning. But thank you for all you do at all the events and everywhere else, not just here at West Point, but in the community as well. We appreciate everything you do. And we always look forward to both seeing you and hearing you around West Point.
Thanks so much, Jamie. It's an honor to serve here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for listening to the WPAOG Broadcast Network. Please take a moment to rate and review the show, and join us each week for a new episode. Thank you for listening.